for joining us. Hi, I'm Alatiche Victoria, and here with me is my interpreter Gideon Israel. This is the Inclusive News Network. We'll be bringing you the latest news on the major stories of persons with disabilities, necessary information and happenings around the nation and across the world at large. Now for the headlines. Governor Matawale assents to disability child state social protection bills. IYD 2022 CSF calls for full participation of PWDs in political and electoral process. Lalu charges PWDs to embrace Disability Act. IYB 2022 Youth with Disabilities Dairy marginalization demand better inclusiveness in society. 8.4 million people need humanitarian assistance in North and East Group. We'll be back in a jiffy to give you the major stories. Please stay tuned. Welcome back. Governor Bello Matawale of Zamfara State has assented to the three social protection bills passed by the State House of Assembly. This is contained in a statement issued by Jamilu Benue Magaji, Press Secretary to the Governor, and made available to newsmen in Gazao on Wednesday. The bills allow to provide for the protection of children in Zamfara State and for other matters related thereto, persons with disabilities, bills and state social protection bills. He said the document would ensure proper targeting and exist criteria for eligible beneficiaries expected to be mined from the state social register. According to the governor, the laws provide that the state social protection and disability funds be provided to complement the government's efforts in providing more access to children, women, persons with disabilities, and other vulnerable groups. He appreciated Islamic scholars, partners, and women groups who educated through the First Lady Ajiha Aisha Matawale for their contribution. Matawale said their effort was part of what led to the speedy passage of the bills and their subsequent assent for implementation. Others included the Chief of Staff Government House, Maliam Ibrahim Suleiman at the State Chairman, All Progressive Congress, APC, Alhaji Tokro Baflani, among others, NAN. The Cedar Seed Foundation CSF has called on government at state and federal level to fast-track implementation of Article 29 of the United Nations Convention on the Rights and Persons with Disabilities UNCRPD and Section 30 of the Nigerian Disability Act 2018. Article 29 of the USC, RPD and Section 30 of the Nigerian Disability Act 2018 set out the framework for participation of persons with disabilities in political and public life. Chief Executive Officer of Cedar Seed Foundation, Leos Alter, while speaking at a press conference to commemorate the International Youth Day, said persons with disabilities here face all forms of discrimination and exclusion daily and are regularly segregated from the wider population in key areas. Alter, represented by Chief Operating Officer Emmanuel Ayubu, observed that the situation is compounded by the fact that almost all sectors in Nigerian states are non-inclusive. This, she further pointed, includes the electoral process. For example, access to polling units, availability of voting materials like braille, magnifying lenses, etc. There is also a shortage of employment opportunities. Public infrastructure, and others. The World Bank states that approximately 15% of people worldwide are citizens with disability. United Nations Population Fund estimates that 20 million of persons with disabilities across the globe are citizens of Nigeria. AUTA laments the poor participation and representation of youth, PWDs, and the entire PWDs population in political leadership roles in Nigeria. This, according to her, will ensure an inclusive electoral process during the 2023 general election. The Executive Secretary, National Commission for Persons with Disabilities, Mr. James Lalu, has charged persons with disabilities to take seriously the Disability Act and to see it as a tool to defend themselves with, especially when their rights are in jeopardy. The Executive Secretary made this known recently in Jos during a 3-day sensitization workshop organized by NCPWD on the discrimination against persons with disabilities. Lalu, who was represented at the event by the representative of the North Central Zone of the Council Commission, Mrs. Esther Awu Andrews, said that decentralization should be carried out in collaboration with Federal Ministry of Information and Culture for an enhanced and wider publicity. In addition, Lalu called on government to ensure that at least 5% of workers at various agencies are PWDs as mandated by the law. Nevertheless, the ministry will continue to ensure that more awareness creation and sensitization on the Act, as well as judicial implementation of its provisions, will be carried out, he assured. He commended the Plateau State government for being the first to domesticate the law and ensure that it was complied with. Every year, on August 12th, the world commemorates the International Youth Day, while IYB, this day is exclusively set aside by the United Nations to, among other things, identify with the youth, discuss challenges affecting them, and profile practical solutions to the identified challenges. The founder for Youth Awakening and Empowerment, FOYAE, joined the commemoration this year. A third board member of the foundation, Mr. Bachema Yusuf, highlighted this year's theme, Intergenerational Solidarity, creating a world for all ages, in speech during the occasion. Bachema also used this occasion to call on government at all levels, youth focus, NGOs, community-based organizations, CBOs, Organization of Persons with Disabilities, OPDs, and prominent personalities who graced the occasions to ensure proper remuneration of youth with disabilities and their being included in society. Speaking at the occasion, Mrs. Linda Meshach, representing Blind Cluster, expressed the satisfaction with the way people tend to discriminate PWDs, especially women and youth. She warned that such things should be stopped by all means if the UN Intergenerational Solidarity for All Ages goals will be achieved. Special guest during the event, Alhaji Ahmed Yahayi, expressed gratitude to FOYAE leaders for organizing such an enlightening program. In his words, it is high time society redefine its values and norms. Yahayi further stressed the need for more collaboration between the younger and older generation to achieve harmony and end all forms of discrimination within the society ranks. Inclusive News reports that the IYD collaboration witnessed Participation of prominent authorities. In attendance were representatives of Ministry of Education, Youth and Empowerment, Information and Culture, the Christian Association of Nigeria (CAN), representatives of various youth groups, and PWDs were present. The Christian Aid UK in Nigeria, a non-governmental organization (NGO), on Friday said an estimated 8.4 million women, men and children need humanitarian assistance in Borno, Adamawa and Yobe. Mr. Temitope Fashola, country director of the group, disclosed this at a news conference to mark 2022 World Humanitarian Day in Abuja. The theme for this year's celebration is the woman race. It takes a village. According to Fashola, the conflict may not hit Nigerian has generated an alarming, life-skill humanitarian protection crisis that showed no sign of abating. He said the group has been delivering humanitarian assistance to conflicts and crisis-affected people across the states of Adamawa, Anambra, Benue, Borno, Delta, Gombe, Kaduna, Kogi, and Plateau. The country director noted that the organization, with its humanitarian response team of 60 staff and 38 volunteers, has been working in different locations to respond to the needs caused by floods, violence, clashes, and insurgency. In 2022 alone, an estimated 8.4 million women, men and children are in need of some forms of humanitarian assistance in Borno, Adamawa and Yobe, with over 2.2 million displaced people. Among them, it's an estimated 587,955 people who are projected to be at emergency level phase 4. This crisis is happening to a population that is already highly vulnerable, as millions of people has been pushed into survival mode. Fashola further endorsed that about 80% of people in need of humanitarian assistance across the Northeast states are women and children. He said that humanitarian in the region work is extremely challenging circumstances, often risking their lives and safety to reach people that are in need. Thank you for staying with us. Please kindly like, share, comment on our social media handles on your screen. Until next week, bye.